Once upon a time, there once was a man who roared like a lion and cried like a baby. His name was Stephen.
I hate it when Swipey Swipe stores goodies.
Yo, Steven, let's go get some food, my man.
Alright, dog. Is it me, or does the air seem kind of different over here?
Yeah, I think it's because of the factory over there. It's letting out all these air pollutants. Jerks.
We can't stand for this. We need to do something.
What do you plan to do, Steven?
What else can we do except burning them down?
Alright, so over here we got PG&E where they build a power plant in Hunter's Point, San Francisco, which emits about 600 tons of pollutants every single year to the southeast region of San Francisco, and 600 tons is a really big amount. And so we might ask ourselves, why did they build a power plant with a population of nearly 36,000 people compared to a place like Colma, which only has 1,800 people and also a lot of resources available to power plants?
Though a place like Colma is 15 minutes away from the city, with a large amount of megawatts being transmitted, the amount of voltage being lost is minimal.
With the already great amount of air pollution in San Francisco, the dispersal of air pollution should be obvious. With that in mind, alternative locations should be erected.
So they took I shouldn't say truckloads. They used trucks, but they railroad cars full of that soil that they took out of here that was polluted with various, hydrocarbons and whatnot that you find it, this is a gas-fired power plant, old nasty one, and inefficient. And that got carted away to make it somebody else's toxic problem instead of using bioremediation techniques, right? We have lots of evidence to show, even the Naval Shipyard up here, rumor has it, that they're using fungi for some of the radioactive soil. So we have plants, we can use fungi, we can use species of bacteria to clean up. They didn't do any of that. That so makes me mad. And you can see their nasty transformers still there, right? That's all there. Yeah. And so what did they do? They didn't even, if they had actually went off on somebody who came here last week that worked on that project, he probably thinks I'm such a witch. But anyway, so you'll notice there's a brown strip around it. Yeah. That's their bioswale, right? So that was supposed to be to absorb any runoff of that ugly asphalt. Well, they should have just used bioremediation the whole time. They planted that in the dry season. So what happens when you plant a native plant in the dry season? You don't water it. It dies, right? So you'll see a nice brown strip, I'm being facetious, all the way around it is the dead bioswale. So that was their attempt at greening the infrastructure. So I totally went off on that in a tour, and I didn't know somebody from PG&E was here. And they started emailing me saying they were very concerned about it and wanted to do something about it, and that they wanted to involve my students, and they were trying to fix the problem. And I thought, good, they're all for some money. Anyway, so that's what I know about that plant. And it's gone. That's good. How they remediate it was not a good thing.
Okay, so we just have simple questions
yeah.
How long have you been working in this area?
Well, I was born and raised not far from here, so I'm from Potrero Hill. And
so you lived here all your life?
Yeah. I lived abroad for a while, but for the most part, this is where I'm from.
So over the years, have you noticed anyone working in this area or someone you know that have developed respiratory problems?
Well, I used to work as an environmental toxicologist, right, in the field of environmental health, so I know that there's lots of problems like that because it's in the literature and documented that this area has higher rates of respiratory disease, particular asthma, and a lot of that has to do with, well, you look outside, you can see sustainable crushing and all the particulate matter from that. The larger stuff, right, our respiratory system able to filter out. It's the small things. So the power plant was probably the biggest culprit. But near freeways, you got all kinds. This is the industrialized part of the city. So this is in the environmental justice issue section of town.
And have you noticed any change in the air quality over the years in this area?
Yes and no. It's gotten better, I think. However, what irritates me, being a scientist or trained as a scientist, is that we need to have data to verify that, right? Mm-hmm. And there haven't, all the studies that I've seen done on this area are old. They're late 90s, early 2000s. Yeah. That's old. It's 2013. We need a new study. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I'm hoping that will happen is at City College. We just got a Department of Labor grant to actually establish an environmental monitoring program. So I'm hoping that what I'm trying to create is some service learning opportunities in that. So I actually would like the students, when they're learning about air monitoring, that they actually come here and start collecting some data. You know, and maybe what we can do is look at that data and compare it to whatever data exists in the past, so we can answer that question more appropriately, rather than just me flapping my lips to the breeze. Anyway.
All right, well, thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
So, we're just gonna ask a few quick questions. So, how long have you been living in the city?
25 years.
25 years. So, like, do you like come here often a lot? Like,
Yeah, I live right in the Bayview, like 2 miles away.
Alright, that's great. So,
It's real convenient.
just a random question. Do you know anybody? Does anybody in your family, or have you been affected by asthma?
Yeah, my son has that.
So, basically, what we came here for was the power plant that was been taken down a long time ago, and we were wondering if you think that the air has been affected because of the power plant in this area.
Yeah, I think it was back in the day. Hopefully it's getting a lot better now. But I know I was here to go along a lot of this part before. 10 years ago it was really pretty nasty all along here.
So do you think like living in the Bayview has contributed a negative health factor rather than other areas in the city because of the power plant?
Yeah, absolutely. Especially the people that are right here. I think we're a couple miles over and the wind comes from the west. I don't know. But I think it kind of sits in around here. And I think, I don't know, I haven't looked at the facts.
Okay, well, thank you so much for your time, sir.
That's all?
Alright, so we got Chelsea Stewart over here, a resident of the Bayview district of San Francisco. So how long have you been living in the Bayview?
17 years.
17 years, so practically her entire life. And do you know anyone, or do you have asthma?
Yeah, I have asthma.
You have asthma? Do you know anyone else in your family that has asthma?
Yeah, a lot of my cousins have asthma.
A lot of her cousins have asthma. And do they all live in the Bayview also?
No, not all.
No, okay. So do you feel like the power plants that were in the Bayview many years ago contributed to the fact that you got asthma?
Absolutely. I think the toxics are everywhere, and it's in our air. We have to breathe it, and I think there's other factors that contribute, such as smoking in our environment. That's something we can't really control, but I do think that they need to revise what they're doing with the shipyard and power plants to make sure that the toxins in the air aren't another factor to, people getting asthma.
So do you feel like the Bayview district compared to other districts in the city, let's say, have different air quality because of the power plants?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for your time today, Mrs. Stewart.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, nice to meet you.